Hi, welcome back everyone. This is Nidia with another video. As promised, I was wanted to talk about, the beginning of when you start to notice your child is a little bit different than everyone else, um, and getting the diagnosis. It's extremely difficult. Um, I had been taking care of kids since I was 10 years old, and I felt like I kind of knew how kids developed, and just from experience, not anything serious. But um, at the time, we were in Germany for 3 years, and he was 8 months old when we got there. So every time we went to the doctor, I got blown off, saying that, oh well, it happens, he's a boy. Or, well, usually when they're the younger sibling, they let you or the older siblings speak for them, and it just kind of got blown off, constantly, even though I knew in my heart that there was something. And if you believe in your heart of hearts that you want the doctors to look deeper into what's going on and really listen to you, you have to push for it. You should, because it can't hurt anything. um, it's it's a way of knowing and being more comfortable with what's going on, and at least you know that your thoughts are valid. I mean, that there is possibly something going on. So my son he got diagnosed at 3.5 as developmentally delayed, and he started school at 3.5 years old. He got on a school bus and went to school at 3.5. It scared me to death, but we only had one car, and my husband had to go to work. So it's just what happened. So he enjoyed it. He liked riding the bus. He thought it was cool. So as long as he was okay with it, I had to be okay with it. And I think that's part of the constant thing as a parent, that although things bother us more than it bothers them, and I still have a hard time with that, because I don't want people. He's 29 years old, but when we go to the store, I can hear him 2 aisles away that he's talking to himself. And I don't want those looks. I don't want those stares. I don't want people to look at him differently. But I mean, honestly, if I heard somebody, talking to themselves, I would, well, two things. I would give that look as well. I mean, let's be honest. And because it's takes you off guard, or I would think they're on their phone, and you not all the time can you see their earpiece. So some things bother us more than it bothers the child. So I think getting them tested is good for everyone. It's good all around, because then you can gather information. I mean, if you do get a diagnosis of being on the spectrum for your child, I mean, yes, it's hard and it's difficult, and you feel so much at one time, and you don't know what to do and which way to go, or you get bombarded with so much information. It's overwhelming. And as a parent, you always feel like you're supposed to be able to protect your child. And this is one thing you can't protect them from. You can't protect them from it, but you can help them through. You can help them get through this world. No one can protect their child from everything. At every stage, it's something different at every age. And so, though they may hit those stages at different times, because they're developing at different levels. So like right now, I would say my son is probably more like an 18-year-old, you know. Um, and as they get older and as you get to know them more and how they develop and when they start to change, you'll be able to kind of gauge at least, you know, where they're at. Um, I became a student of my son. There's no other way I can say that. I became a student of him. And after I got over the initial shock and all the tears and screaming and, you know, I became such a student of him. I wanted to read everything I could about autism. And this was in the 90s, so there wasn't that much information out there. And that was a lot to take in. So it was really hard for me to find out things to help me help him. And sometimes, a lot of times, parents still feel that way. Because when you're in the midst of caring for your child and it's a stressful situation, you're just like, oh my gosh, why can't, what can I do to help him? Like, why can't he just, you know, get it? And we have to understand that they're not going to just get it the first, second, 100th time. I mean, my son taught me one thing. He taught me patience, because I don't normally have a lot of patience, but he taught me so much patience. And with him, he stopped throwing tantrums and meltdowns after he was able to communicate. So about 3.5 is when he started to actually talk and put sentences together, put words together. And I will say though that even though the doctors in Germany blew me off all the time, I think one of the doctors said something that stuck with me and still sticks with me today. It was the only helpful piece of advice that I was given at that time, is you and your daughter, because when we took them to appointments, I took both of them with me. And I guess he saw interaction between us, and they were saying that to stop talking for him. Make him give the effort. And then, even though you know what he wants, make him try. Don't give it to him right away. Make him give the effort to say what it is that he wants. Milk, juice, you know, cheese, because he used to eat cheese, like that. So as long as he gave the effort, and it was hard to adjust, because you don't like to see your kids struggle. The last thing you want in life is to see your kids struggle. And when they do struggle, as a parent, you blame yourself a lot. And it's going to happen, you know. You just have to take a deep breath and know that this is the process. And it's not always easy, you know. Right now we're having to work with my son on budgeting his money, and it's hard. I mean, once you're a parent, you're always a parent, no matter their age. You always have something you have to help them through, because you've been there, they haven't. So whatever it takes to teach your child, once you learn what that is, it makes things a lot more doable. It makes it a lot less stressful for both of you, because you've learned how they learn. You learn what works best for them. And though at different stages in their life, you have to adjust here and there, because they're getting older and they're changing. And just like any other kid, you know, at one point I was like, and I asked the doctor this, and he looked at me like nobody's ever asked that question before. But I said, how much of this behavior is autism and how much is it him just being a kid? And he gave me that look. And at that point, I realized you can't think that way. Well, I couldn't think that way. You just have to handle each individual situation and handle it in the best way that you know how. And I'm on 2 Facebook pages, parents with autistic kids and adults of parents of adults with autistic kids. And I read a lot of the ones that people that have that younger kids or teenagers, and there's not always an answer for, I try to give, whatever knowledge I can, whatever help I can. But, and I know it's hard because you're looking for answers. And sometimes you're not always going to find it. After some time, maybe hindsight will say, oh, I should have done this, or I should have handled it this way. But that's how you learn. I mean, sometimes you have to learn by going through it and doing it. And that's why I wanted to create this channel, because I want to help the next person. If in any way I can help the next person. And I know all of our kids are different, just like you and I are different. So we have to figure that out. And if I can give even a little bit of knowledge that would help somebody, that's my goal. I see people, or I read about people who are just done. They don't know what to do. They're at their wits' end some days, and sometimes more often than not, unfortunately. I think that, you have to fight for your child all the time. And I know it gets tiring, but there are children. Tomorrow's still going to come. You're still going to have to get up, and you're still going to have to help them through their routines. And some days is more challenging than other days. And it's hard, I know, but we have to keep going. We can't just throw our hands up and give up. There are children, and they need us. And yes, I do understand that, unfortunately, sometimes hard decisions have to be made with adults or kids that are aggressive and violent, either to themselves or others, or both. My cousin lived with us when I was in 10th grade. He came to live with us, and he was 4, and we didn't know what was going on with him. We thought it was because of the severe abuse that he suffered as an infant. So I saw the aggression, I saw the self-abuse, I saw the throwing TVs, throwing down Christmas trees, the out of nowhere aggression that would come, and we never found out what his triggers were. Even though he could speak, that's what he liked. He liked playing with words between Spanish and English, because my parents are Puerto Rican, and my mom spoke Spanish and English, or Spanglish, and he liked to ask, what does this mean in English? What does this mean in Spanish? And he's now 40 years old, and he did end up having to go to a home when he was around 17 years old. And my mom felt like that, she gave up on him. Not that she gave up, she let him down, that she didn't do her job. But she did. She gave him love, the love that he never had. And these are things that I know that we think about way ahead of, what's going to happen when I'm not here anymore. And though we do have those thoughts and it's normal, just try really hard to focus on what's in front of you, because you can't take on the future. You can't, none of us can. We just have to go with what we have in front of us right now. And if we can help our child get through what's in front of them right now, then that betters them for the future. And it gets them in a better place with being more independent, even if it's just getting dressed. I know how it's, to us it's something that should be so easy, but for them it's difficult. Sometimes, the brushing teeth can be difficult. Taking a shower can be difficult. It's a process, and it's going to take time, and you have to attack it with baby steps. Spell it out for them. When my son had his list, it was get up, take off your night clothes, put on your shirt, put on your pants, put on your socks, go to the bathroom, grab your toothbrush, put the toothpaste on the toothbrush, turn on the water, wet the toothbrush, brush your teeth, rinse the toothbrush, put it back, wash your face. That's how sometimes it has to be tackled. It has to be tackled in every single step is described. And I'm not saying that, some kids catch on really fast, but I wanted to make sure that he understood everything that was expected of him. Because if they don't know everything that's expected, that's when they get frustrated. Because they take it onto themselves. And now as an adult, my son as an adult, he gets so frustrated with himself, and he takes it on himself. And that's why I think as an adult, a lot of people end up with depression and anxiety, because their life has been a struggle. Everything they have had to learn is against everything that they feel or they are as a person. So please take the time to become a student of your child. If you have to have books, notebooks on notebooks on notebooks of, something they can't do and the steps you're taking to help them learn that, take notes on it. And if that one thing didn't work, at least you know not to do that again. And then you can go try another thing, try another angle. There was a time that my house was full of, I taped little pieces of paper on everything to let him know that everything had a name. The wall, the fan, the table, the chair, the lamp, everything had a tag on it, so that he would know when we went to it. I'd point at it and say what it was, and get him to attempt to say it. And even the attempt was, I would praise him for it, because I know and I figured out that all of this is foreign to him. It's all foreign. So everything in their life has had to be explained. Through their life, if you think about it, everything they've done has been corrected and saying it's not this way, it's this way. Everything, every step of their life to where they are now has been corrected. They've been corrected constantly. And so my son currently, he doesn't like to be corrected. He handles it fine, but he just doesn't like it. He just gets this look on his face like, really? Like, do we, I would probably respond the same way. So the bottom line is taking in all the information you can, read books, I've got books that I've only read portions of what pertain to my son, that I felt pertain to my son. So when you read a book, if you get to stuff that doesn't really flow with where your kid is, just try to seek the parts that do. Because if you read about more severe or, things that don't pertain to your son, it's just adding more stress and it'll set you back. So I personally think just reading portions that tend to focus on more where your child is, and know that you're not going to find one book about your child. And that's what caused me to write this book. So take the time to get to know your child. Let him be your teacher, while also reading everything you can. And in that process, you'll slowly begin to really get to know your child and how your child learns best, because that's what the goal is. And once you get to that point, as they get older, things can get better. And I know everybody's situation is different, everybody's child is different, but it helps if you really get to know them and how they learn best, because that's the only way we can reach them and teach them. Let your child be your teacher. And even in the beginning, when you find out and you get the diagnosis, it's going to take time for you to kind of digest that. And you will be overwhelmed for a while. I became a walking encyclopedia on autism because it overwhelmed me. And I heard myself in every conversation bringing it up. I wanted to talk about it constantly. And for me, I guess it was my way of processing it. But do what you have to do to get beyond the diagnosis. Allow yourself some time. And then just study your child. Just study them, take notes on it. You'll learn more than you think about your specific child. I hope this helped someone. I hope I gave some good information, and let me know in the comments if this is helpful, and I hope to see you next time. Like and subscribe, and I wish you all the best of luck. Our kids are a blessing. It is difficult, but they're worth it, and they deserve to have the best life that they can. We can't change how people see them. We can't change how people will treat them. But we can control what we can control, is making them the best person that they can be and reward every small accomplishment. I hope this was helpful. I enjoy doing this. And if anyone has any comments or anything they want to ask or want me to talk about, please let me know. I appreciate you, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.